You know that feeling when something is just off? Maybe it's this persistent nausea, or you get dizzy every time you stand up, or you're walking around in a brain fog that you just can't shake. We're talking about those invisible symptoms that can totally turn your life upside down, but for way too long have been so misunderstood. And that right there, that's a feeling so many people, especially women, know all too well. You know your body. You know when something is really, truly wrong. But trying to get a doctor to see it can feel like you're screaming into the void. So today, we are going to dive deep into the science behind these incredibly frustrating symptoms. We're going to look at the underlying system in your body that's gone rogue, the huge connection to long COVID, and maybe, most importantly, the new paths to actually getting some relief. Okay, first things first. Let's just acknowledge this experience. If you feel like you've been fighting a battle nobody else can see, you are absolutely not alone. And the data? Well, the data shows a pretty clear pattern of who's in the trenches with you. Get this, 91%. In one big study on long COVID patients who developed a condition called POTS, that's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, a staggering 91% of them were female. And this isn't some random number. It points to a massive gender disparity that, thankfully, researchers are finally starting to dig into. So what in the world is the connection here? How can something cause both nausea and brain fog? Well, the answer is hiding in plain sight, in the part of our nervous system that runs the entire show, from behind the curtain. Meet your autonomic nervous system, or ANS. I want you to think of it as your body's brilliant, and I mean brilliant, autopilot. It's constantly working 24/7, adjusting your heart rate, your breathing, your digestion, all the stuff you never have to consciously think about. Now, the ANS basically has two modes that are supposed to work together in this perfect little dance. You've got the sympathetic system, that's your fight or flight response, it's the gas pedal. And then you have the parasympathetic system, your rest and digest mode, that's the brake. When things are good, it's a beautiful balance. But when that balance gets thrown off, you get a condition called dysautonomia. Dysautonomia is basically when your autopilot system starts glitching out. It's like the software has a bug. All of a sudden, your heart might start racing for no reason, or you feel faint just from standing up. And it can unleash this whole cascade of debilitating symptoms, from gut problems to that crushing fatigue and brain fog. So for a long time, dysautonomia was kind of this obscure diagnosis that not many people knew about. But then, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and it completely changed the game, forcing the medical world to sit up and pay attention. We now have this just overwhelming mountain of evidence that viral infections can be a huge trigger for dysautonomia. The virus itself might be gone, but it can leave behind this wreckage, this damage to the autonomic nervous system that causes these long-term disabling symptoms for millions and millions of people. And here's what's so important to understand. Long COVID doesn't exist in a bubble. It has this incredible overlap with other really complex post-viral illnesses, like ME/CFS and fibromyalgia. And guess what? These are also conditions that have historically been dismissed and disproportionately affect women. See a pattern here? Okay, so understanding the problem is step one, but now let's get to the part we all really care about. What can we actually do about it? The good news is, as the science gets better, so do the treatment options. There is hope. All right, when we're talking about tackling that awful chronic nausea, one common strategy is to go after the dopamine receptors in the brain's vomiting center. Now, drugs like metoclopramide can work wonders, but there's a catch. They can cross into the brain, and that comes with a risk of some pretty serious side effects, like muscle spasms or restlessness. So it's a powerful option, for sure, but one you have to be really careful with. Another huge player here is serotonin, and it's fascinating because in your gut, serotonin can be both the hero and the villain. Some drugs, like the well-known ondansetron, work by blocking certain serotonin receptors to shut down nausea. But then you have other drugs that do the exact opposite. They stimulate different serotonin receptors to get a sluggish gut moving again. It's all about finding the exact right key for the right lock. But what happens when the pills just aren't cutting it, or the side effects are just too much to handle? Well, this is where things get really cool. We're talking about a new frontier, using technology to literally talk to your nervous system and help retrain it. So check this out. It's called gastric electrical stimulation, or GES. For people with that severe, relentless nausea that just won't quit, this device can be a total game changer. It's basically a pacemaker for your stomach. But it's not forcing your stomach to contract. Instead, it sends these gentle electrical signals that help reset the faulty communication happening between your gut and your brain. You know, a really comprehensive treatment plan is about more than just prescriptions. It's about building a whole toolkit. The goal is to calm down that overactive fight or flight system, and studies are showing that things like acupuncture, the natural compounds in ginger, and even therapies that teach you how to consciously influence your body's responses can be incredibly powerful tools. So all of this, the science, the patient stories, the new treatments, it's all pointing in one direction. The way we see, understand, and treat these invisible illnesses is truly fundamentally changing. So if there's one thing I really want you to take away today, it's this. These symptoms are not just in your head. They are real. They have a physical, measurable cause in the way your autonomic nervous system is working. And because we're finally understanding that, there is a whole new world of therapies that offer real, tangible hope. And that leaves us with this one big, crucial question. Long COVID has impacted the lives of millions, and it's brought this unprecedented spotlight onto post-viral illness and dysautonomia. So, will this finally be the moment? Will this devastating global experience finally be the catalyst that makes these invisible illnesses impossible for anyone to ignore ever again?